Hey guys, it's Sunday afternoon, and you've guessed it, time for some more development with Groenland. Now, just firstly to say welcome to the stream, everybody. And today we are going to make a inventory slot tooltip. Okay, so we completed our widgets from last night by doing the tooltips for our sorting. Okay, and there we have it. And now what we're going to do, I shall display this again once I actually pick up an item so I can show you a bit better, is when we come in here, we want a tooltip to appear when we hover over our inventory slot. Okay, so that is our objective today. Well, our first objective. So what we're going to do is create a widget, and we're going to call it widget underscore item tooltip. Okay, and we're going to go in here. We are going to give it our canvas panel. Then we're going to give it a border, and we're going to probably, actually no we won't, we'll leave it as is, right? And then we shall gradually fill it out. So the way I'm going to do this most likely is with a vertical box, and probably start off with an image, I suppose. We'll work on this, okay? And then probably a text. And then we'll have another vertical box. And in each of those, we're going to have a horizontal box, and that horizontal box is going to be fine, that's okay. And our border, I'm not 100% sure on this one yet, but we'll think about it. We are going to go to UI textures, we're going to go to our Viking stuff, and let's just get some data in it, okay? How's about that? So what we shall do is we'll create a variable and we'll call it item data, and it's going to be of the type struct interactable. Okay. I'm going to take those off. And we're going to bring that down. We're going to go to our inventory slot. Okay. And we're going to need something on hovered. Right. And then we're going to need an unhovered. Okay. And on this, actually, what we're going to do, this item data is going to be exposed on spawn. Compile that. And we are going to say nothing there because that's, no, that's okay. Right, that's okay. I was getting a bit confused there for a second. So we're going to create a tooltip. Okay. And we are going to pass in our item data. Okay. And then we're not going to do what we did last night, which was forget to add it to the viewport. Okay. And our next objective, I wonder what this image size is. Ah, it's a vector 2D, okay. That's fine. So, we are going to pull out our item data. We are going to rename this to image underscore item. Okay. Now we might need to set up a thing for this. It's not going to be 96, it's going to be smaller, so we're going to go 48 on this in the first place, but we might need to actually set up a brush for this, or a style, whichever one it is, can't remember. But we're going to do this, and we're going to we can actually set the brush. So we can make the slate brush, and we can go 48, 48 and see how that hangs with us. To begin with, we're going to break this, then we're going to grab our image, and we're going to drag that back in. We're going to set that up. Okay, and we'll not do anything because we're going to obviously set up a load of stuff here. And in here, okay, widgets of class. Then we're going to say tooltip, and it's the item tooltips, and we're basically just going to remove everything. So we're going to say for each and remove from parent, and that should get rid of our tooltip. Okay. So back here in tooltip land, we're going to say HB item name. We don't need to set these as variables because it's the actual things that are inside this that's going to be the factor for us, right? So we're basically going to have two texts. So we're going to have text and text, and for this one we're basically going to say 40 and 60. Okay, so that'll be that. We're going to say item and we could have a spacer here, right? So if we go into primitives, we can actually do a spacer, then put that in there, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to change these slightly. So this is going to go down to 35. We'll work out what's the best setting for this. We're going to set our spacer to 10. And this is going to go to 55. Okay. And then we can duplicate this and this is actually going to be txt item name, and that's going to be a variable, and this is going to be weight, Let's see. And this is going to be a variable called txt item weight. Okay. So we can save that, then we can select these and we can change this to that font, and now with our border right, we can basically do a border of some type. Okay. So we could use this. Not too keen on that, to be fair. We can use that and then use another border in the back, right? But what we're going to do is our vertical box, we can add some padding . Okay. And actually our font size, we can drag this down to 18, let's say. So let's have a look at this, but what we need to do is we have our image item, so we've done that. We need item name and item weight. Right, and we're going to set text, which is going to be at the bottom, because it always is. We'll do that, plug that in, plug that in, oopsie. Okay, we're probably going to have to do a little bit with this. So item name is going to be there. It's going to get converted to text, which is fine. We'll tidy up this later. Then we're going to do weight. It's going to go there. And that's also going to get. We can add, append our stuff later with kilograms or whatever. But our point here is basically just to get this working. Pick up, go to inventory, voila. Okay. Okay. So it's weird. That our image isn't now. I wonder, let's just try a couple of things here. And our hi, Mr. Spock. Hope you're feeling better. Right, so generally where's the inventory main? There. Okay. That's not really what we wanted, but anyway. I'm going to go browse to that. Then I'm going to go to the sort tooltip. Then we're going to go to graph. Well, that's good. So we're going to do that. Then we're going to go to item tooltip. Right. And we're going to say CP underscore tool tip. Okay. And in the first instance, we're going to paste that. And we're going to redo that. Then we're going to test it out again. Oh, it doesn't like that. That's fine, because that's the wrong thing. It's actually this one here that we want to do. Again, for this, we're just going to put a arbitrary number in, but we can look at making it a bit smarter later. Right, so inventory, tooltip. Okay. And our border, we're going to size it to there. And Now right, we're going to stop that, and we're going to try a couple of things here. We're going to get this thing here, and we're going to wrap that with a border. We're going to say fill, right, but we're going to set it to be transparent. If that doesn't work, we'll wrap it with a canvas panel. Yeah, that's kind of weird, isn't it? Stop that. No, we want the designer. And we're going to do that. We're going to do that. And it's not allowing us to size the content. I mean, that's a bit more interesting, but it's not really what we want. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap this with a size box, and we shall see if this solves our issue. Inventory, kinda not. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to undo that. Why is that size box not going away? There we go. Image. Now, if I center it, you see, if I center it, it does its thing. Right? Which is cool. But not as cool as I want it to be. Right, we need this to be slightly bigger. Right, and this text block is going to be empty to start with. I don't think I need that actually. So the next thing we're going to do is our vertical box. I'm going to go for 15. Let's go 20. And what I can do with these is I can put them in a scale box, right? And this is going to be item weight. And then we're going to duplicate that. And this is going to actually be description. And we're going to have in here, we might need to move these about because this isn't the way I want it, but anyway, description, that's going to go, and that's going to go, and this is going to be centered. And then we're going to duplicate that and we can actually call item description 1, that'll not actually matter. So this is going to be txt description, and it is going to be a variable, and what we're going to do is we're going to say 1 2 3 4 5 6, let's see, so that's 6 7 11 12 18, right? So we're going to say wrap text at 18. Okay, then we're going to go to our graph. We're going to grab our description. We're going to set text, and our description is going to go in there. Okay. And now I'm hoping this is long enough, right? Otherwise, we're going to have to put some gibberish. Okay, so that's a bit rubbish. So let's go back to here. That is going to be fill. And that's going to be like that. That's going to be 1. It's actually going to be auto. So then we're going to do one more thing, is we're going to pull this down to 14. We're going to save that. Then we're going to try it. And we'll see how we're looking. Okay. Now, I don't know why. I've never really played with these settings very much, so we're going to have a little play about with these to get the right result. Right? And let's see, wrap at 24. We'll switch auto wrap off. Wait a minute. I think we just need to switch on auto wrap. Inventory, and there we go. Right, but the problem here is that this is kind of going to the same size as right. Save that. And now our our image isn't actually getting bigger, which means that it must be using or I think it is So let's go back to this image. That's a 64. That's still not right, but anyway, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to wrap this in another border, right? And that's this one here. We're going to copy this, right? And we're going to paste that, okay? And then this one, we're going to put something inside it, right? And it's going to be like, let's say, well, let's try this one, shall we? Okay, and then this border is going to have some padding in it, right, which is going to be, let's say, 20. But let's not say 20. Let's say 15. Let's say 0. Right, so 0 isn't going to cut it. Right, these are kind of a weird shape. They've got this bending thing. Right, now we could, can we do this? Yes, we can. Right, so in theory what we can do here is this can be a higher Z order, or alternatively it can't, apparently. If I say -1 on this, yeah, I didn't think it would do very much. But if we set that to 5, we can't, that ain't working. Right, so we are going to have to change this. We can't use this, right, because these aren't meant for that. So, but we can use something like that. What the heck? Right, that's okay. Or we could use something like that. That looks quite nice. I'm going to say that looks quite nice. And if I set it to 10, that looks pretty decent, I'd say. Is there anything else I can use here? I mean, we could use one of these. I am quite liking that one though, I've got to say. We could go with that. But having said that, I'm still liking that bluey thing. Yeah, I'm quite liking that, to be fair. The word wrap's not right yet, but otherwise, I'm liking that. Yeah. Okay. We are kind of liking that a bit. But what we're going to have to do is this widget, this image, we're going to have to put it through a bit of something. Right? I don't like the square, basically, is what I'm saying. So we can do something with that, but I want to get our description. That's the idea. I'm going to have to mask out the black. But first, I'm guessing 100, because this isn't actual letters, this is actual width of our thing. That's interesting. Where did our weight go? I think I've... interesting. Our weight's disappeared. And I think... I think we can change change this. Alright. I'm wondering if we stick like some padding on the bottom, that's going to allow us to have our description and it actually work a bit better, because the border doesn't seem to be expanding enough. It just needs a certain something, doesn't it? I don't know what that something is. And for some reason the weight isn't coming up. Right, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, hit like and subscribe. I'm going to have a 2-minute break for a cigarette. I shall be back. Check out description for links to Discord, previous game, add it to your wish list, that would help. Doesn't cost a bean. And also support the channel on Patreon. I'll be right back. Okay guys, we are back. And this is kind of the way it goes with widgets, right? Never happy with them. Never quite do exactly what you expect. We could word wrap at 200, which is going to make it squarer, which is going to make it look better. At least that's the plan. That looks okay to me. Right, it does need two little things, right? It needs two things. It needs the material to be made transparent for the image. Right? And I think we can do that actually. We can try it. And then I can put a border around it that kind of frames it. So what we'll do is, for our inventory slot, if we go to the designer and then we go to the image, right, I'm looking here, so that's a frame, and this button is going to use a material, I believe, right? So here's the dynamic material. Right, and we're interested in this. Okay. So in effect, we can do this. Right? And this is the one that uses the image size, so we can change this. So what we'll do is we'll go to sort tooltip, right? And we're going to add a variable called dyn material, right? And I've already got the material that takes away the back, right? So this is going to be dynamic material instance. Okay. And then we have another one that says image size, right? And that is going to be an endpoint. Okay. And we're going to save that. And we're going to make this 96 by 96. I think we need our image a little bit bigger, right? But then we're going to go in here. We're going to copy this. And we're going to put it in here. going to paste that and that is going to go into image item. Or no, it's not. So we're making a button, right? So instead of that, dye material. Okay, so this does not go in there. And I'm an idiot because I added the dynamic material to the wrong place. Right? So we promote that to variable. Dyn material. Did I make the characters myself? No. My colleague made them. In character creator. So we need that one more variable, and we shall say it is image size. Compile that. It's not going to work for a minute, but we're okay with that. And that's going to be dynamic material. Okay, that's going to go in there. And our image size. Why is it not? I'm guessing it's because it's not target again. Oh, right, okay. Oh, it's because I haven't changed it. Int. Well, I'm certainly screwing things up. Right. So now I can say this, right? So if we say 96, 96, right? And we do that, we delete that, then we plug that in there, Okay, so this can all go. And this image here can go here. Right, and then inventory, and you can see it is transparent, but it's a little bit too transparent. It does work. There's something missing from it. Oh, wait a minute. For a kickoff, that's missing from it. So apparently this is a vector 2D structure and not an endpoint, even though I could use the endpoint. Right, there's an easy way to do this. All I need to do is do that. Right, and then split. Then basically split that and basically go like that. But that's a bit shitty, so we're not going to do that at all. We're just going to actually change it. Right, so this can just be a vector 2D compile, right, and 96 compile, drag this into here. I'll tidy this up in a minute, guys, so I know it's a bit messy for now. And good afternoon, musty bees, by the way. Inventory, there we go. Now, the interesting thing we could do here right, just to give this, we could wrap this with a border, right, and then we can basically like use this. But having said that, it's not got the black border in it. This is the one we want. Right, so we could do that. We can save that. How's about that then, guys? You like that? I'm beginning to like that. But what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to try a couple of these to see what sort of thing we're getting on this. Now, I think if I pick this up, this is right. I've got to say, guys, that looks freaking fantastic. Right? But what we're going to have to do here, right, is these are going to have some we're going to have some padding on these. Right? And I'm not 100% sure let's just add it anyway and find out, I suppose. Yeah, that's better. Then this one here, we're going to do the same. Right, but we're going to justify it to the left. And then we're going to have a spacer, right? So we need our primitives back. I mean, I suppose we could stick like 25 on that. Right, we'll save that for now, and then we'll try it. Right. Now we're talking. Now we are talking, guys. Do you like that? Let me know in the chat if you like that, because I'm liking that. Right. So if we just go and pick everything up, right? I don't know why those are getting squished together, the weight. I do, however, like the way it's working so far. Right, but what I'm going to do with these is I'm not picked the right ones out. Damn it. Wait. We're going to make these 24. And we're going to do that. Okay. And we're probably now getting to the position where I would leave it for a wee while to ferment in my mind. And then I would basically go back to it and polish it again. Now it looks to me there, right, that we need it. Right, this description here, right, because of the wrap text at 200, right, I'm getting the feeling that we need to wrap this in a size box. Right, and that size box is going to have a width override of 200. Right. So no matter what the item description, etc. is, it should go to 200, right? So we should get a kind of consistency now. So that still looks the same, which is cool. And there we go. And there you go. Okay. So that is beginning to look pretty darn good, I'd say. And I would actually go as far, right, in here to change this image size right to 128. And then I would actually go as far on the size box as to say 250. right? So don't worry about that one. And as you can see, guys, that's looking really good. Right? And I'm really happy with that. Well, I'll tell you what I'm not. I'll tell you what I'm not. As I've said before, guys, this is kind of what I do. I basically iterate, change it slightly. Right? Until I am completely happy with it, and it's been a day without bots so far, but you know, you can't. So inventory. And that's looking good. Right, and I am going to screenshot this. And my dog is getting a bit upset. So we can close that down. Okay, sorry about that. The dog was getting a bit excited about something or other. But yeah, I am pretty happy with that so far. Right. So, we need to work on an interface next. That's my first iteration. I have sent it off to my colleague who will check it over, see what he thinks, and then we'll take it from there. Right? In the meantime, we are going to tidy things up a bit, base blueprints. So that can go in there. Right? And our interactable item can go in there. Okay. Our interface can go in the interface folder. And we shall create one more folder called structs and struct and DTs. So that's struct and data tables. Okay, and then we can put our struct in there. And we're going to rename this, in fact. We're going to call it structs enums DTs. Okay. And that can go in there. And then we're going to create one more. And that's going to be widgets. And we're going to pop our widget in there. And that basically tidies everything up. Okay. Now we want to change our interface because we want more info and we want one more called more item info. In fact, we'll do it the same name convention. We'll say more info item. Okay? And that is what we need to do there. Now we're going to close, we're going to save everything. Okay? Then we're going to close everything there so that we can start with a nice blank screen again. We can get a drink while Unreal Engine decides that it's going to start working again. Okay. And we're going to go to our character. And I don't know what. Ah, okay. Right, okay. Well, what we need now is a new button or input action right. So we're going to add an action mapping and we're going to say item info and I suppose we'll set it to G Okay. And we say item info. Okay. We're going to move this down. And we're going to duplicate those. Right. And then off of here, we're going to say more info. Right. And then on our interactable items, right, these are our master interface calls, calling to our actual individual items. So we're going to say event more info, and if we get that call, we're going to say, I don't know why it's doing that. Right, hang on a second. What's going on? Right. Another variable or function. Okay, tell you what. We'll call it get more info. Let's call it the same as everything else. Can more info. Actually, you know what? Can get more info. Right. So if we go to BP interactable, we can now branch off that. Get a reference to self. And we basically say more info item. Right. And we can save that. And now at this point, Lawson layered, characters movement. It's basic. It's the basic character movement. Third person, I believe. right? Let's have a look. It's nothing out of the ordinary. Right, we've actually already got it done, right? But from the point of view of movement, it's kind of the standard. This is the controller stuff. This is the mouse input. So this is like for turning and looking up and down, right? There's nothing particularly funky about that. And this is your kind of standard, apart from the fact that you won't have this. This is irrelevant to you. And this is also irrelevant to you. Because I just checked to find out if there is a value here, right? Because by default, Unreal Engine updates your movement input, right? No matter what this value is. So basically what I do is say if it's nothing, don't do anything here, right? If this is 0, i.e. a button's not being pressed, then don't do it, right? And the same on the move right. Okay, now these are probably going to end up getting split up into their different move forward, move back. Now move forward is obviously +1, move backward is -1, right? And move right is plus and left is minus, right? So you can do it like that, or you can split them up, especially if you're going to do key bindings, right? You really need to split them up, but it makes no difference, okay? But other than that, it's basically the standard third-person controller, right? But we've done a few tweaks to the camera, but it's just basically how the camera's looking, right? Like the position of the camera is slightly different, but fundamentally it's basically the standard third-person controller, okay? These ones I have disconnected, okay, for touch, jump, and these are standard controller as well, okay? Except for these aren't, I don't think, right? All the red stuff here I have basically removed. So if you see any of these in the standard controller, I'll be surprised. Jump will be there, touch input will be there, but this ain't going to be there, that ain't going to be there. Walk speed probably ain't going to be there either. No, it's not. That's for the shift, right? This is for the shift button, that you increase the walk speed so that you're sprinting, but we don't use that, so that's disabled as well. But yeah, and that's about it as far as the movement goes. Right, these are all interface calls, but yeah, hopefully that explains it. If you want something more in depth, let me know, but as I said, it's basically a third-person controller. Yeah, right guys, okay, don't go anywhere. I'm going to ask you all a question, right? I don't think you were here earlier for this, right? But I have just made tooltips for my inventory, and I want to know what you guys think, right? Because I think they look pretty damn good, right? So I'm going to pick stuff up. and there. So what do you guys think of that for a tooltip? I think that's pretty damn good. Right, I'm going to tell you what. Yeah, I think it looks good, man. We've got tooltips on here, and we've also got tooltips for our different things. Right? You can obviously click on this and still do your thing, right? But yeah, I'm pretty darn happy with that. That image isn't quite right, but I understand that. But yeah. We like. And at the moment I am just putting stuff together. I'll explain what it is in a minute. Right. Whoops. Right. I'll do it with the bed. No, I'll not do it with the bed. Bed's a bad idea. Right, I'll do it with this item here, right? We want a button that's gonna basically give us more information. Now I'm just checking that it's actually working. Right. Now that's not going to do anything. And that's cool. That's exactly how I want it. So basically an item that's like, let's say it's a body lying on the ground, right? You obviously can't pick it up. Oh yeah, I thought it's my first pass on it, right? So the thing is that basically A, it's working, B, it looks kind of decent, and C, I've passed it to my colleague who's going to say yay or nay anyway, right? And if he says nay, then he's going to have to tell me what to do with it, right? Back to the point. This object is going to be like, let's say, a body, right? Now, you won't be able to pick it up, obviously, because you can't put it in your inventory. You can't use it, right? And in this case, you can't inspect it, right? But maybe the body is going to give you some more information, right? Like, it'll tell you about the body's, like, the body of an old man who seems to have been killed by a bear, blah, 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 right? So that's the point of this, okay? So if you go up to, like, a Viking ship, right, it'll tell you a bit of a story like, oh, this is a Viking ship that you built with your father or blah, blah, or whatever, right? So this didn't exist before, so this is what my colleague wants as like a fourth option. Okay? And as you can see, it does it. And what we need to do now is, oh, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Well, I know how I'm going to do it, but I don't know how I want this to look. In the real game, in the current version of the game, it does something, right? So, I tell you what we'll do. We'll save it all, right? When we'll have a look at what it does at the moment. Okay? Because this is what I'm trying to simulate. Even though we might make it look a bit different or whatever. Right, so if we go to maps and then we actually, if we go to the main menu, I can show you the whole thing. Right, so if I press play, right, we can say new game, click on that, there's our loading screen. And it's going to start compiling paste. Hey, it's going to compile some shaders, isn't that great? So how are you today, Kiwi Mastermind and Lawson Laird, if any of you guys are still there? Because I'm going to have to wait on shaders before this loads, apparently. Yeah, I'm good today. Got a little bit more energy about me today, to be honest. I think up until yesterday I had a little bit more energy, and today I've got a little bit more. But before that, I was kind of thinking the streams were a bit kind of low energy. Maybe they weren't. Maybe you didn't think any difference. Right. So this is the actual. Right. Now I'm not going to play the cutscene, because it's going to probably end up loading shaders again. Even though it's loading shaders anyway. Right? So we want to go off the side here. So that we don't play the cut screen. Right, so apparently it wants to do a whole load of shaders here. But we'll ignore it for now. We'll pretend that it doesn't exist, even though it's now affecting my stream. We'll try to get to somewhere where I can show you what I mean. Okay. I'll show you what I mean by this. Right, so we'll have to go through here. Right. Now, you'll see this here, right? This 4G thing. And yeah, you see that when you right click on it, this phone is running the majority of the day, right? So basically you've got to light it up and then it's going to show you that dialogue-y thing. But you'll see that so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to mimic what that does, okay? And then obviously depending on where you are looking, this lights up, okay? So I'll need to work out how they're doing that, and if we want to actually do it like that, I don't know. This system, I mean, like, if I walk up to that, right, I would expect that to light up. I wouldn't expect to have to, like, do that to get it to light up. Okay? That to me is kind of nonsense. Now, whether or not we do this on the bottom or open up a text box or something, I'm not too sure, right? But that's the type of thing. You can't pick it up, obviously, it's a forge, right? You can't use it because you're not a blacksmith, and you can't inspect it, right? Because basically you're just looking at the thing and you can't pick it up to move it around and stuff, right? So basically the only thing you can do with it is like read a bit of text, or like it's possible that we could voice it. If you know what I mean. But yeah. And on that bombshell, guys, I'm going to call it there. So if you've enjoyed the stream, hit the like and subscribe. Check out the description for my Discord and links to my previous game on Steam, which I would greatly appreciate if you add to your wish list. It doesn't cost you a penny. And also, if you want to support the channel and contribute to the game, then there's also my Patreon. And with that, guys, thank you for watching. I shall see you tonight at 8 PM Central. Bye bye for now.